So it's day 2. I'm leaving, let's see, Greenwood Furnace State Park. It's 9:30ish. A little bit of a late start, but not too bad. I've mapped out a route that I think will take me back onto the BDR. Hope so. Nice park, really well maintained, clean, nice campsites, and I enjoyed my time here. So the plan today is to go to, I'm not sure, Greenwood State Park. It's towards the end of section 4, or I might go a little bit further up to Little Pine State Park. I just have to see how my time works out, you know, how frequently I stop along the way and stuff like that. Let's see where we at here. Okay. Just keep going straight on this, and that should get me back onto the regular route. We'll see. So I'm on Rog Hollow Road, and this is the shortcut back to the main BDR route from Greenwood Furnace State Park. Beautiful black hard-packed gravel. Be nice to ride on. So, had a good night last night. I probably got 8 or 9 hours, which is unusual for me. And one thing nice about staying in state parks is most of them have hot showers, and I don't know, I guess it's my age, but at the end of the day, especially you put in, you know, 8 or 9 hours of riding, a nice hot shower before bed feels really good. So, when I'm doing these multi-day camping trips, whenever possible, I try to get a place that has hot showers. It's not always possible depending on the route that I'm doing, but usually it is. I try to stay in state parks. They're safe, usually they're clean, usually you can get hot showers, so it's a good way to go. So yeah, this should take me back to the main route. I met 3 guys. They were in the campsite below me, and man, they were super moto campers. Every one of them was riding a big BMW GS, really nice. One guy had a brand new one, I think it was a 2024. And so anyway, I went down and was talking to them, and they have been all over, you know, a lot of the Western BDRs. They've run the Mid-Atlantic BDR, the Northeast BDR, and a bunch of other places. It was interesting because one of them was telling me they did a big route up in northern Michigan, and so I talked to them about, you know, my place up there, and you know, we both knew a lot of the different areas up there, and so talked about that quite a bit. But man, they took off early. They packed up and they were gone by 7:30. A lot better than me. Quintessential PA BDR-X right here. Pine forest, dark crushed gravel. looks like the weather's going to be pretty good again today. Basically what it was yesterday. Got down to, I think, 47 last night. And I think it's like 55 right now. It's supposed to get into the low 70s, which is fine. Starting to see some of the first camps of the day. This camp phenomenon in the PA Wilds is interesting. You just never know what you're going to see as far as, you know, these cottages. They're always interesting to look at. And they have cool names. Some of them are obviously fishing camps, hunting camps. Some of them fishing and hunting camps. Some of them are just, I guess, summer cottages. But it's a neat thing to see. This is Allen Seeger Road. It's the trail or road that I'm taking from Greenwood Furnace State Park back to the main route. And it is really nice. Cedar trees, the road is nice, and there's about some of the best, you know, ADV riding you can imagine. You know, if you like smooth stuff, if you like challenging rough stuff, this isn't it. But a pleasant surprise. I didn't know, you know, what the workaround route that I'd planned out on Gaia would be to get back onto the main route, but this is ideal. It's just one of those roads where you can cruise at, you know, 25, 30 mile an hour, third or fourth gear, depending if you're going uphill. And just really pleasant. And I am up high because I have 5 bars and, let's see, LTE. I'll lose that once I come down off this mountain, but nice to have it now. Maybe stop and check my messages. Okay, so let's talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and that is, should a 66-year-old senior citizen be riding a little mini moto trail bike solo for 500 miles through the Pennsylvania woods? Well, obviously my answer to that is yes, because I'm doing it. But here's my thoughts. When I took up, you know, seriously riding, you know, adventure riding, I knew that, you know, I'm relatively old. I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'8", 160 some pounds, usually around 160. And so I would need a small bike, because if you ride alone and you drop your bike, you have to be able to pick it up no matter the circumstance. And so I chose, you know, the little Honda Trail 125, which I'll talk more about a little bit later on. But, you know, what are the dangers? Well, obviously you can have an accident, and, you know, if you're solo, you're in big trouble, potentially. So I've taken the usual precautions that I think many of you watching, I'm guessing most of you watching this video, have done. You know, I got a satellite communicator. I have a Garmin inReach too, and that keeps me in contact with my wife. I also send update messages to my son. I tell her when I'm starting my trip. I send her messages throughout the day saying everything is going okay, and then I tell her when I'm ending my ride for the day. She tracks me on the map, and you know, it works out really well. Of course, you have the SOS button if all else fails. So I've done that. I pay really strict attention to the maintenance on the bike. Make sure the chain is in perfect shape, make sure the tires are in good shape, tire pressures are correct, you know, the oil's changed, everything mechanically that can go wrong, I try to mitigate that through good maintenance. I think everybody, you know, does that. I have a full set of tools. I can deal with just about anything that would reasonably happen. Of course, I know unreasonable things happen, and you know that puts the adventure in adventure riding. You know, nothing is guaranteed. I carry 2 MSR bottles, 30 ounces each of extra fuel. I've only needed that a couple times, and one time I probably actually didn't need to put it in. But anyway, that's, you know, I make sure I don't run out of fuel. The big part of safety is planning and preparation. Know what you're getting yourself into before you get into it. I do a detailed studies of all the routes that I'm going to undertake if they're new to me. I make sure I understand the conditions, and then I do what everybody else does. You know, these routes have been run many times, and people have posted YouTube videos about them, so you get to preview a chunk of the route. Obviously, you don't get to see the whole thing, because if people are riding 8-10 hours a day, you know, they'll put up a 15-minute video. You're not going to see all the conditions. They're going to put up the cool stuff in their video. You know, I understand that, but it is a way to at least preview the route. I make sure I know where all the gas stops are, you know, just general precautions. And then, you know, to a degree, you have to be kind of philosophical about it. You know, nothing in life is guaranteed. You know what they say, you know, life is a series of calculations. Calculate well. And so I try to do that. I use my experience of riding and my 60-plus years experience in life. You know, I have a rule: if it's not fun, you know, try to avoid it if you reasonably can. The only reason I do this is because I enjoy it. If I get to something that's not enjoyable, or that I think my better judgment tells me it's dangerous, I don't do it. You know, I've pulled out of routes before that I just didn't like the way things were going, and you know, I'll do it again. You know, live and be healthy to ride another day. You know, there'll be another day. So there's that. But you know, I know there's an element of risk in this, you know, given my age and given the inherent risks in doing this sport. But I think I've mitigated them as much as is reasonably can be, and that's the best you can do. And I enjoy doing this so much that, you know, it's worth what I think is a fairly minor risk in doing it. Now, whenever I do these rides, I'm fully suited up. I've got armored pants, armored jacket, gloves, heavy boots, you know, specifically made for this. So, you know, if I do take a tumble, I'm as protected as well as can be. Of course, I have a full coverage helmet. It's a really good quality one. And I don't ever ride something like this. In fact, I don't even ride around town without being suited up usually. So that's another element, a big element, of course, of safety. Might be the biggest one. Oh, what a nice, I mean, this is why I do it, to ride places like this. You know, the PA Wilds BDR-X is considered a fairly mild BDR compared to some other ones, like, you know, the Northeast BDR, pretty rough. Some of the Western ones. But it's so enjoyable to ride. It's funny, I stop recording and then I come to another section of, yeah, Alan Seeger Road that I just have to start recording again, because look at this. You feel like you're riding through the enchanted forest. Big ravine over there. You would not want to go down in that. Yeah, speaking of safety, I think the biggest safety factor, one of the biggest ones, is I go slow. You know, I'm not 30 years old and think I'm going to live forever. I know bad things can happen in an instant. I don't have anything to prove by, you know, seeing how fast I can do a route, and that's not why I'm in this sport or this hobby, this interest, whatever the heck it is. I'm in it to do exactly what I'm doing right at this moment, to ride through beautiful forests and think, wow, how great is this? So speed, I'm not interested in it. I mean, obviously, if I was interested in speed, I wouldn't have a Honda Trail 125. This little thing tops out at 50, you know, if you're lucky, 55. It'll hit 60 downhill. Okay, now here's where I join the regular route. Yeah, look at this. Wow. So beautiful. Look at the campground over there. Gee whiz. So this is the Alan Seeger natural area. It's a little stop along the way. It's right next to the PA Wilds BDR-X. And it is gorgeous. Make sure I don't fall in here. But look at this. Shelter here, picnic area. So I'm second gearing my way up Spruce Mountain Road. This is on section 4. Okay, so we're talking about safety. This next part is endearing. I don't know if you can see that, but there's Frontiersman Bear Attack Deterrent Spray strapped to the front of my bike. My wife, well, let's back up. You know, to do this, I wouldn't be able to do it without my wife being supportive of it. When I first wanted to get into it, I think she was maybe a little bit, I don't know, anxious about it. But she saw the preparations that I did, and she sees, you know, the safety things built into it, and so she's on board with it. But when I told her I was going to be riding through the Pennsylvania wilds, you know, 500 miles, she's from Pennsylvania. She grew up outside of Philadelphia. She knows there's bears here, and there are bears in these woods. But she became concerned that I would be the victim of a bear attack. So, all on her own, she ordered a bear spray and just put it on the counter one day and said, take this with you. So I did. I think that chances of being attacked by a bear, as long as you take all reasonable precautions, you know, are pretty minimal. But, you know, people do get attacked by bears. But anyway, I have my bear attack deterrent spray with me, strapped right on the front, and she insisted that I, you know, keep it handy. And so that, anyway, that's what I'm doing. It's the least I can do because she's so good about, you know, being supportive of me taking off by myself, riding solo on these ADV trips. She's really just terrific about it. She has another year to work before she's retired. I don't imagine that she's going to be taking ATV trips with me. But, you know, we do have the 2 trail bikes, and, you know, once she has more time, she is actually learning to ride the bike, and I'm hoping that we can do more of that together. But you know, we'll see. It's, you know, this hobby or riding motorcycles period is not for everybody, and nothing wrong with that. She has a lot of interests, and you know, this is one of mine, and it might become one of hers, and it might not become one of hers. So, you know, we'll just have to see. But we ride this bike 2-up quite a bit, and I think she enjoys that. In fact, I know she enjoys it. But anyway, having a supportive spouse, partner, is critical if you're going to go out and be gone for several days at a time doing something that does have inherent dangers to it. You know, there is some measure of risk. Your partner better be on board with it, or, you know, discord will happen at home. So anyway, I have my Bear Attack spray with me. Let's see, still on Spruce Mountain Road, and so far, I mean, the whole PA Wilds has been terrific, but this has to be a favorite part right here. You know, this is one of those times where you just want to keep recording, because when you stop, there's another really pretty place 5 minutes away, and you think, oh gosh, I should record this. Anybody who makes videos, and let's see, what do I have to do here? Hang on. I think I need to turn right. Is that what I need to do, Zumo? Hang on, let me do some orienteering here, some map work. Let's see. Is this it? Okay, I think so. I'll find out here in a second. Yeah, this is the way to go. Okay. Good. So anyway, back to what I was saying. If you have a partner that's supportive of you doing this, you know, there is a upfront cost to it. You have to buy a motorcycle, you have to buy all the camping gear to outfit it, and any accessories you want, and it mounts up. Obviously, compared to most ADV riders, I did kind of the low-cost version. I bought a used Honda 125 trail bike, and I bought good equipment. I'd say gold equipment, but not platinum equipment. But it's good enough for the kind of rides that I do, and it's worked well so far, so I'm happy with it. I think at this point I have most of what I need, and so far I've not bought anything that I wish I hadn't, or that I didn't end up needing, so that's always good. So modifications to the bike, let me talk about those a little bit. I know I've mentioned them before, but I'm reminded something as I'm riding today, and that is I've done what a lot of people do with these bikes. If you're going to do, you know, if you're going to ride in hilly terrain, I swapped out the 14 tooth for a 13 tooth sprocket, and right now I'm reminded of why that was such a good thing to do. There's a lot of, I'm going up and down mountains, and like this hill right here, if I had the 14 tooth in, I would be down in second gear, I'm sure of it. But instead, I'm able to go up it in third gear, no problem. And I've got a full multi-day camping pack on, so I'm carrying between 50 and 60 extra pounds. And yeah, the 13 tooth sprocket gives you a little bit more torque, and sometimes it is just enough to make a difference. Like here, I'm lugging this hill in third gear so far, and you know, it's working out really well. It's climbing it in third gear. You would never be able to do this in third gear with a standard sprocket in it. It would bog down, and you'd be downshifting into second, like I'm going to do right now because of a turn. Yeah, all right. Another cool thing about riding mountain trails is even when you're out in the middle of nowhere, if you're on top of a mountain, you generally have cell service, and so your messages pop in from time to time when you're on top of a mountain like I am now. Yep, I'm back in cell service. So, you know, again, modifications, I'm a big believer in. Those of you who are watching this video, my guess is you're watching it because you're interested in the Honda Trail 125. I would suggest that, yeah, if you're going to do any kind of hilly riding, put a 13.2 sprocket in it. If you don't want to run it all the time because it throws off your speedometer and odometer, I think I've read it throws it off by 6%, makes it 6% optimistic. You know, it overstates the mileage on the bike and the speed. To put in a 13.2 sprocket, for me, it's about a 15-minute, maybe 20-minute trailside swap. So you can only put it in. You can put it in when you only need it. That's an option. I mean, obviously, if you're going out west and you're gonna do the Rocky Mountain passes, swap it in on the days that you're going to do that. A little extra boost might make all the difference. And I mentioned before, one of the things I really appreciate about it is if you have to stop on a hill, which you do from time to time, and it's easier to get going because you got more torque down low. Can't say enough good things about the Shinko 244 tires. They grip well. It just puts more trail in the Trail 125. Gear it down a little bit, put knobby tires on it, don't overload it, and you're good. This is East Mountain Back Road, out onto some pavement now. We're heading into Milroy, it looks like. A couple miles down the road. Yeah, look at those views. Beautiful farm country. This is Amish country. You can tell by the horse patties on the road. Beautifully tended farms. I'm on Black Mountain Road going through just gorgeous countryside. Again, I think this is Amish, Mennonite, Dunkard, Old Order Baptist. I don't know exactly. I'm guessing it's Amish. But yeah, you can see. Look at the farms. The wood pile. Look at the laundry. And there's some buggies. So, Amish farm country. So we have just turned on to Havas Valley Road. And we are in some beautiful farm country. It's similar to where I'm from, but we don't have mountains. We have mild hills. Now look at this mountain right in front of me. Classic. This is endless. Wow. So just recently entered Bald Eagle State Forest. I'm on, I think it said Strong's Improvement Road. I just passed the Flat Hollow alternate section. I'm going to skip that this time. But look at this. Anybody thinking about running the PA Wilds BDR-X, definitely do it. Definitely death to the right. I think that's going to be the story for much of this section. Kind of reminds me of the Smoky Mountains 500 last month with smoother roads. Couldn't be a better day. It's probably 60, 65 degrees. Pure sunshine. So having good fortune with the weather. Bike's doing great. Everything's in good shape. Hope it stays that way. Bald Eagle State Forest. I mean, look at it. Ideal riding. The little Honda Trail is doing really well. I mean, how could it not in a place like this? The Honda Trail 125, CT 125. What's its lineage? Being a history guy, I always like to look at the backstory on things. And so I took a brief look at the development of the Honda Trail bikes. And I don't know everything about it. A lot of people know more than me, but here's what I found out. It can be traced back to one man. His name's Herb Uhl, U-H-L, I believe. And he was a motorcycle dealer in Boise, Idaho, and in the late 50s, of course, being in Boise, Idaho, it was mostly off-road riding. You had a lot of sportsmen, and so trail bikes would, sell well out there. So what Herb did, to make a long story short, is he got one of the early Honda Cub 50s, with the front fairing on it and so forth. This is before they became, the icons that they are now. And it was in the late 50s, maybe it was 1960, I'm not sure. He did modifications to it. He geared it down. He had a large sprocket made, I guess a friend of his, and put that with the standard one. That was the original dual range transmission. He deleted the fairing off the front of it, ordered knobby tires, which were difficult to get at that time, so it took some time for that. And I don't know what other modifications he made, but it's a classic example of building a product to suit the market you're in. The market that he's in is off-road riding and a lot of hills. So he started selling those like hotcakes, apparently. and Honda took notice. I don't know if it was the regional distributor of Honda that first noticed or who exactly it was. But again, to try to keep a long story short, eventually one of his, they noticed that he was selling way more of these than a dealer should, okay, especially since, you know, he was in a rural area, and the little Honda Cub 50 was, you know, a local and around town commuter bike. No way this should be selling in a, you know, a rural area like he serviced. So one of these bikes ended up in Japan. I think it was a distributor that got one and sent it over, and Honda looked at it and created the first Honda Trail, the 50. And then, of course, you had the Trail 70. The ones that I first remember are the CT90s, the Trail 90s, with the dual range transmission on them. This was in the 60s and into the 70s. I actually had one for a while, not long ago. And but anyway, the development of this little trail bike can be literally traced to one person, Herb Ewell of Boise, Idaho. And incredibly, Herb, as of a year or so ago, was still alive. He looks like a sprightly guy in his, I think he's in his 90s. And there's a really nice documentary on YouTube. It's where I got most of this information. Then I checked a few other places too. But if I can remember, I'll link the documentary in the comments, and I'll link it below on the YouTube channel so you can see it. It's pretty interesting. I think it's only 14 or 15 minutes. And anybody who's interested in the Honda CT125, like I'm sure most people who hear this, who are watching this video are, it's a fun documentary to watch, because it, you know, gives you a background on the bike that you're so interested in. Now, I'll warn you, he does make a disparaging comment about the modern incarnation of the Honda Trail. He thinks it should have the dual range transmission still. This interview was conducted with him, obviously, after the Honda reintroduced the Honda Trail in 2021. I don't know when the interview was recorded, maybe 2022, 2023, something like that. It's pretty recent. And anyway, he thinks that this bike could be more than it is, and it needs a dual range transmission. A lot of us would agree. I would like for it to have a dual range transmission. I love the dual range transmission on my CT90. I had a 1970 model, and yeah, you flip that thing in low range and it would climb a wall if it could get traction. It was an unbelievable amount of power from a 90cc engine when you had it in low range first gear. Shoot, it had a tremendous amount of power in low range in all 4 gears. But maybe Honda will do that at some point. I don't know. It would be nice if they did. I know the rationale for not doing it. You know, this is a more powerful bike. You know, most people that buy these do not do anything that would require a low range on it. But, you know, it would be nice if they would do that. Still just cruising through Bald Eagle State Forest. I am on Tester Valley Road at the moment. And I'm using Gaia to see the big picture, and I'm using the Zumo to see the immediate picture of where I'm at. Couldn't be a better day to do this. So still in Bald Eagle State Forest, but look at this. Quite the vista. So this is Knob Ridge Road, definitely the roughest part of the section for today. It's just, you know, first and second gear crawling stuff. You know, you're going down hills, so of course there's a lot of exposed rock from erosion, and a little bit of mud here. But, you know, compared to, say, Smoky Mountains 500, it's nothing extraordinary. You just pick your way through it and you know, watch what you're doing. Take your time. Try to avoid the big ones. Keep the bike upright. And still a lot of fun. Beautiful pine forest. Still think I'm in Bald Eagle. Can't glance at the map at the moment. But yeah, anytime you get a, you know, an exposed rock trail like this, it's just an exercise in patience. Yeah, this is definitely like Smoky Mountain 500. I don't know how many miles this is. Looks like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 miles. But just cruise through it at, what am I doing? 13 mile an hour. Flop over in the mud. Yeah, just mostly second gear stuff here. Definitely dust to the right. That goes way down immediately. You've got maybe 6 inches on the edge. And since I can see quite a ways, I'm going to ride left. I know you're not supposed to do that, but anybody who rides for any amount of time knows that you have to, given the line on the road. And if you can see a clear distance ahead, you're all right. Don't do it around corners. But sometimes the best line is on the left. Like here. I know this isn't being picked up on the camera, especially this time of day. It's 12:30, and so the shadows and bright light and everything are blotting out all the roughness. But it is rocky. Maybe you can tell it in my voice. I'm going over these rocks. Or the straining of the engine. It's interesting how swiftly the terrain can change. Coming up the other side of the mountain, that last road, which I just crossed out of 3 minutes ago, came to an intersection in the middle of nowhere in the forest, and on one side it was rocky and rough and, like I was saying, first and second gear stuff, and now I've crossed over onto Swift Run Road, and it is, well, just what you see here. It is really nice. I mean, going downhill, I know it doesn't look like it, but going downhill, but not too bad, and you know, nice and smooth gravel road through the forest, just like, you know, since I started out this morning. But that knob something road, yeah, that was rough, and it started to get wet towards the end too. You had these massive mud puddles. You could skirt around them, but yeah, it didn't look good there for a while. No real challenge or anything, but it was not like this. Again, this is Swift Run Road. I'm gonna curve back around to the left here and meet up at the other end of the first challenge section where it comes out. Something Hollow Road, I forget. Quarter to 1, so I'm gonna have to pull off somewhere and get some lunch. I'm in the middle of, I don't really see any places. I'll just pick a flat spot in the road and pull over. I guess it looks like I'm going to get to Greenwood State Park about the time, you know, maybe around 4 or 5, which is the ideal end of the ride time, so I can set up camp. It's kind of hard to judge, but that's what I'm thinking at this point. Yeah, look at this. This is just keep it in 3rd gear, gear brake down, and just cruise along at 21 mile an hour. Is this still Bald Eagle State Forest? I don't know. I'm closing in on High Top Ridge, High Top Mountain. I can't see. Another camp. I've seen what seems to be like hundreds today. Let's see, I take a left down here. Yeah. These roads are really well taken care of, but man, they are beveled in a lot of areas, and not only do you have a, you know, death to the right and left in various places, but you've got deep, what do you want to call them, gullies immediately on both sides of the road. In other words, if you get too far to the edge, your tire could slide off pretty easily and, you know, dump your bike. So I try to avoid the edge of the road. I ride towards the right center. So it looks like lunch today is going to be at the Snyder Middle Swarth picnic area and trail loops. Go down there and have lunch by a beautiful stream. Oh, look at that. Ideal. Picnic area, sunrise to sunset. Hemlocks Trail. Oh yeah. Haha. Look at this. Wow. How's that for a lunch spot?